The Sciforror Film Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Sciforror Film Podcast. I am Andy Walker and I'm joined as always by my son Scott. Hello Scott.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. Getting back on track with things and finally getting where I need to with. I forgot the name of them, doctors.
Yeah.
I'm seriously not with it today. My brain. I say that I'm getting back with it. My brain's just not helping. But no, I'm getting back in track and getting back onto doing things. And as long as things carry on working down the line and getting back into doing some sport activities that I used to do, so I'm looking forward to doing things this year.
Good.
How are you, Father? How's life
Yeah,
been treating you?
I'm okay. I'm still in the same situation I was after having gone to see a doctor. I'm still in the same situation of having a problem in the chest area, um, which is affecting my breathing and my already dodgy heart. But apparently it's neither my respiratory system or my heart that's causing it. So I don't know what else there is there.
Have you got any extra organ that?
I don't know. I don't know what it is that could be there that could be causing these problems if it isn't one of those two things.
Yeah, you'd think if you've got a problem with your chest, it'd be one of two things. But
I'm
okay.
I don't know. I'm expecting any moment to fall over onto a table and have an alien burst out my chest or something.
Ah,
That
creating
would
a
explain
xenophobe.
it. Um, but no, yeah. Other than that, I'm not doing too badly. Thank you. Yes. Now we are in a situation where we do have at the end of this month, we do have the Romford Horror Film Festival happening, which we are privileged to have been allowed to have passes to for the weekend to report back on it as we always do. I'm looking forward to that in many ways. There are a lot of things. I've already been contacted by one filmmaker who has a film on there, who we will be there and we can talk to there about doing an interview with him afterwards
Yes.
about his film. So that's something that will be coming up at some point, and like that. So last week we did science fictioning. So this week we're going. So this week we're going to do horroring. I've no idea what I'm talking about now. It's complete gobbledygook. Who cares? But we're going to do something rather strange this week rather. We've got two short films and a feature film, but the two short films are completely different films from the same year
Yeah.
with the same title.
I don't want to say completely different. They're about the
Well,
same thing.
okay, they're based on the same.
But they're two different ways of the fact they've gone about it.
Yeah, okay. Right. So anyway, the first film is called Charlie Charlie, and it's from 2024, and it's Jaya Kapoor Films. And the synopsis for this says, when Lily, try it again. The synopsis for this says, when Lily, a curious girl, decides to play the infamous Charlie Charlie game, she unwittingly opens a door to a terrifying supernatural world.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I must admit, and maybe I am in the minority here, and maybe that it's a an age thing or a generational thing or whatever. But I have never heard of the infamous Charlie game
No,
until I saw these two films.
no. I did the same thing. I was sort of. I looked it up and I was like, don't know, but it sort of came about the same sort of time as the whole Bloody Mary,
Yeah,
looking in the mirror and saying Bloody Mary or saying certain thing. It's
yeah.
sort of urban legend thing that sort of grew, and no one really knows where it came from.
And it's like, I mean, it's not much different to just using a Ouija board. It's what in the old days when I was a lad, a film like this would have had somebody using a Ouija board, and it would
Yeah,
have
it's
had
just
exactly the
it's.
same things going on.
I suppose it's more of a. I think it was more brought up or made of the fact that when you couldn't get hold of them, obviously, and the whole.
I think it's about time that somebody found a way of doing one of these sort of films where somebody does a strange game or a Ouija board type thing or something like that, where they ask questions and the spirit answers and then they appear or whatever. And I think somebody needs to find a way of doing that using modern technology because that hasn't been done yet, as far as I know.
No, I know. I've seen the film when they've done it with the magic eight balls, which is weird.
Yeah, but I mean,
But no, yeah, with modern technology, I suppose that it would be. I suppose no, I don't want to say easier, but yeah, I suppose it should be. It should be able to be done. Should
but
be able. Yeah.
yeah, I know. Well, with this film, I know it's an okay film. I mean, it's filmed well, the acting's pretty good, the effects are pretty good, and the atmosphere and everything. But I don't know about a terrifying supernatural world. I mean, it's not really original or really terrifying. So
No,
I don't know.
I suppose it leaves a lot to the imagination because of the fact that it's this whole. She starts getting creeped out and then destroys it all, and everything turns upside down for her. But
Hmm.
yeah, I wouldn't say it's massively like scary supernatural sort of.
Certainly not a terrifying
No,
supernatural world,
no, it's I don't know. It depends on what you class as terrifying. But
I
no,
suppose.
I genuinely watched this and I was like, no, the terrifying bit's not there for me.
Yeah,
The supernatural's just about there.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, as I say, it's not a badly made film, and it's not the worst short film I've ever seen. But
No,
again, as I say, I think the thing with it is, that other than the Charlie game bit, which I had no idea what that was about at all, it could have been done with a Ouija board or, as you say, a magic eight ball. It could have been done with almost anything.
yeah.
It's not an original thing, really. It's just a rehash of something that's been done numerous times before, just in a slightly different way. Um,
All right, so I've just had a look because I was having a look to see where this came from. But apparently, it originated in Mexico,
right.
and it basically became famous after a few US celebrities done it. So it's a again it's a someone made it famous and they've pushed it further on. But yeah, it's I think what you said with the Ouija board is a bit more scarier. With this, it's just I don't know. It seems like it's a bit of a sort of or like they could have done a lot more with it.
Yeah. Okay. So the second film is also called Charlie Charlie.
Yeah,
And it's also from 2024. This is on the ACM channel on YouTube, which is kind of like a horror version of Dust. The synopsis for this says, Charlie Charlie, are you there? This pencil game is to die for.
yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Um,
I think this is. I don't know. I don't want to be biased, but I think this is a little bit better because of the fact that it's children actors,
yeah.
and I think that having, I suppose having there being adult actors, you can sort of, I don't know, it's sort of easier to fake them feeling. make the react. As a child to sit there and go, look, I need you to be terrified, and they go, yeah, but there's nothing to be terrified of.
Yeah, no, I know what you
Where
mean.
this one, I think, is genuinely. Don't get me wrong, the acting's still a little bit wooden in places, but I think that it seems to be. I don't know. For me, it seemed to be a little bit more sort of a little bit more on edge because it was children.
Yeah, I think that might be a personal thing because of the fact
Yeah,
that you have a thing where it's got children involved in it. I mean, this is a lot more basic than the first film. I mean,
yeah,
the look of it, it looks like maybe it didn't have quite as big a budget as the first film. I could be wrong, but it looks that way. Um, but again, it's well made and well acted, and yeah, I agree with you. I think it's got a bit more to it than the first film.
yeah,
And I think that partly because of the children, and I think also partly because of the fact it isn't just one person.
yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean? It makes it a
this you
bit
actually
more,
see a sort of figure. With the first one, you don't. It's just
yeah, until right
you've
at the
the
end, you get,
yeah. It's sort of meant to be like that present felt, and then
yeah.
with this one, you actually see a figure, be it her brother has been taken over or something. You
But
see something there.
again, it's not original, and
No,
it's not very scary.
no. It's just this is the thing. Is the fact that like I think because of the fact that there are so many of the films out there, be it like sort of ones where you summon these demons or creatures from beyond, and they do it, and there are so many things out there where it's done with Ouija boards or whatever that nowadays it is hard to do with a original story, I suppose. But
Yeah,
it's just I think the problem is as well for me is the fact that there are so many of these out there that it needs something to push it forward to make it stand out
yeah,
because otherwise it's like these two are just going to get lost in the ether.
yeah,
It needs something to give it that wow factor, and I don't think not being horribly. And I know they're short films and they've probably not got a massive budget, but it hasn't got anything for me that got that wow factor.
yeah. No, yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree. Okay, on to our feature film. This is again from last year, from 2024, and it is Exorcist: The Beginning,
Yeah,
from Brothers Films, directed by Rennie Harlin, and the main cast, is Stellan Skarsgård, Isabella Scorupco, no, got there, Scorupco, and James Darcy. So the synopsis for this film says. Father Merrin is haunted by his experiences in World War II, when occupying Nazi troops forced him to be compliant in their atrocities. In the aftermath, he has renounced his faith and begun working as an archaeologist. He travels to Kenya, where a 5th century Byzantine church holds ancient relics. There, he encounters Sarah, a doctor and concentration camp survivor. The strange occurrences that soon begin reunite him with the evil he sought to escape.
yeah. I have a bit of a problem with this film, and it's purely for the fact that,
Okay,
well, it's purely for the fact for me, time wise,
right.
is obviously this is meant to be set in World War Two, round about that time. Stellan Skarsgård's not a young looking man.
No,
For him to then carry on doing what he's doing to then be the one that's there at The Exorcist, which is then set 30 years later,
well,
doesn't fit time
this is
wise for
supposed to be
age.
just after World War Two. So
Well, yeah, but it's still 1944, 1945,
yeah, I suppose, yeah,
and the original Exorcist is set in 1971.
yeah,
So it's still,
yeah,
well, okay, 20 odd years later, but it's still that time span, I think, because of the fact that he's meant to be in his, I'll say, late 40s at this point.
yeah. No, yeah, I
And
do get what
that's
you're saying.
my only sort of thing with this. I
Well,
do, I don't know. I do have a bit of a problem with these films anyway because of the fact that I'm not a big fan of the Exorcist films because of the fact that it just. I but I think it's more my personal thing. It's just too much of God can conquer all, and it's just like not really, but
It-
okay.
yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I really wanted this to be good. I really wanted it to be really good because The Exorcist is one of my favorite films of
Yeah,
all time. Um, and to be honest, I was massively disappointed.
yeah.
Um,
See, I watched the last one. Well, I say the last one. It's meant to be the last one in the whole series of them
mm,
lately as well. And I actually think that the way they've carried on the story and even tied it sort of back in together works
that,
so much better than this.
yeah,
I think it was too much
but this is
influence on sort of making him who he was, and it didn't need to.
no, I know what you mean. For me, one of the big problems of the film just kind of the original Exorcist for me. It starts off quite slow, but with a few bits of tension, and it slowly builds to the actual exorcism at the end.
Yeah,
And it kind of builds all the way through to that final thing. What I found with this was it kind of started plodding and then grew a little bit and then just plodded again for a long time and then grew a little bit and then plodded and then all of a sudden and then nothing.
yeah.
And it was just kind of like, oh, it just
Yeah. I
the
just, for me as well.
pace
I
was
think
really bad.
I don't know if it was. I don't want to say it's the copy because obviously I watched this on Netflix.
Mm.
It the effects didn't seem to be
Well,
that great
there were
either.
some really awful CGI and
Like
green screen
watching
effects
her
in it.
run down the tunnel.
Well, that wasn't, I don't know, that wasn't too bad for me. The problem ones I had were when the kid was standing and his brother was being attacked by the hyenas. Those hyenas were CGI'd really badly because you could
Yeah.
see they weren't moving naturally.
No, it's just there were a few. There's a few effects with like when near the end when she climbs down the cross,
Yeah,
bends backwards, and that
yeah.
I thought was really well done because of the
There are,
when there was a lot of CGI that was sort of up front, like more sort of you could visually see it, not in the background. I thought it was awful.
there are some really good set pieces and good effects and good makeup and that sort of thing. There are some great bits of that. But yeah, the CGI bits, some of them just worked in. And the worst thing was the end of it. Just this green screen. He walks in front, and you can tell it's a green screen because the way he's moving isn't right with the background he's on. The
Yeah,
angles don't look right, and it
it's
just
it's
looks
a
wrong.
it's a shame because I love Stellan Skarsgård. I think he's an amazing actor, and I
Yeah,
think that a lot of the films he's been in have been amazing.
I
And
mean,
this just seems to sort of be I don't know, sort of a kick in the shin for him.
it wasn't a good film. It really wasn't, and I was so disappointed. And the annoying thing is, I've actually had on my watch list to watch the TV series that the Exorcist
Yes.
TV series. And having seen this now, I'm not sure I want to watch it because I'm just so worried that I'm going to watch it and it's going to be awful.
See, I think that's the problem. Is like we said before. It's just like we said before with the franchise thing. It's been if they had stuck with just The Exorcist.
The Exorcist, I thought was great. I loved that film. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. The second film, Exorcist 2, The Heretic, was pretty awful.
Yeah.
The third film, which was based on the book that was actually the sequel to The Exorcist, was really good again.
Mm.
But everything else has been really
See,
naff.
yeah. See, I see. Like I said, I've watched the first one. Thought that was amazing. Second one, I will say, I kept falling asleep in, and so I gave up. Never fully watched the third one because of the fact that every time I got around to doing it, something kicked off and I had to go and do it. Um, I've watched the latest one, which is that the fourth one with the two girls in it? I think
I
so.
don't know.
But I've watched that, and I actually think that is a good way that it ties it all together
I
with
haven't seen that. I must admit, I've only seen the first three original films.
Well, it's just the
and this
problem is
one.
as well with the last one is the fact that they hyped it up so much of, oh my god, the woman who originally played Regan's going to be in it, and her mum's going to be in it. And I'm like, yeah, her mum's in it. The woman who plays Regan's in it for about 2 minutes at the end.
Yeah,
But it's just that I liked that, and then obviously when they've done the Offspring, you've done like you got Exorcism of Emily Rose and the Exorcist of Pope and shit, and it's just got to the point where it's just like it's a it's almost like they're beating a dead horse. It's just you constantly can't make. There's
I
no
know what you
point
mean.
constantly doing it if unless you're gonna make it better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of got to the end of this and thought, I don't know why they bothered, to be
No,
honest. It didn't
and
really need to be done.
no, it's just it was. I say it was a pointless for me. It was a pointless film to explain the beginning of The Exorcist, and
Yeah,
I don't think that the beginning of The Exorcist needs explaining.
it didn't really need
If
to explain.
anything, if
I mean,
anything, it
obviously,
explains
ob-
itself.
obviously, the fact that Father Merrin had come in contact with the demon that was possessing Regan in
Regan,
the
yeah,
first film, he's come in contact with this demon previously. Okay, you may think, oh, well, I'd like to know more about that, but you already know that Father Merrin is a seasoned
yeah.
exorcist who's been doing exorcisms for many years. The chances of him coming across one of these demons more than once is highly likely.
It's just, it says in The Exorcist that he's a seasoned exorcist and the Vatican's top one,
Yeah,
so he's gonna know or a lot of it. But it's just like,
yeah. There wasn't really a need for it, and I just was disappointed by it on the whole.
and as I said, I love The Exorcist. I agree with you. I think it's an amazing film, and I think it's very well done. But with a lot of these, it just seems like it's too much of the God can do no wrong and He has power over everything. And I'm like, yeah, I get the fact that if it's your faith and that's what it does, but there's only so many times you can hear God will conquer all before you go, oh, I've had
The
enough
thing
now.
about it is that The Exorcist came from a time when there was still this thing that when you made a film, good had to triumph over evil.
Yeah,
Whereas now
it,
you don't have to do that. Now there are numerous films that have come out where evil actually doesn't get vanquished and
no,
good doesn't triumph over evil.
no.
No,
And to be honest, them films where evil doesn't get vanquished seem to do a lot better
yeah.
nowadays.
But it was just a thing of the time, that they wouldn't have been I don't think anyone would have put money into something where good didn't
oh,
triumph
oh
afterward.
no, I get the fact that like the original one that was fine, but
Yeah,
like I suppose nowadays with it all, it's like you said with it, and even if I don't know, they'd added that into it somehow that like it it worked, but it seems like it's just constant now. Even if they do like prequels or sequels to it, it's just like
yeah. My,
you've got to have a chance where
there are so many good stories out there. There are so many good ideas out there, and we don't need to rehash or do follow-ons from other stories or prequels to other stories.
yeah.
Do something different. Do something
It's,
original.
my thing is, but my biggest problem with it is the fact that they've done a sequel to a film that was set a while ago that, to be honest, didn't need it, and actually made a worse off prequel
Yeah,
than like if they had made it as good as the original, then fine. But it just seems like it's especially for the technology we've got, it just looks awful.
yeah. No, I agree.
And
Absolutely.
especially when you look at Watch The Exorcist and go, some of that still, like a lot of that
Oh,
still stands the test of time.
yeah, and it was all physical effects. They didn't
Yeah,
have any CGI or anything like that then.
no,
It was
and
all
it's just
physical effects. That was done on the, at the
on
time in the
literally
place.
in front of the screen, in front of the camera,
Yeah,
and it's just like the fact you've got a film from the 70s which does a lot of physical effects and looks amazing still now, to a film that's newer, that uses CGI that looks awful.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, before we move away from films, I've got to go into the fact that during the week, last week, I went to the View Cinema in Dagenham, where
Oh
they had
yes,
a screening of a mystery horror film.
okay.
Um,
This is one you're allowed to talk about.
yep, yep, yep. I had no idea what it was going to be, or anything at all. I went with a friend of mine called Charlie, and we went and sat there, not knowing what was happening, what was going to happen. And the film that came on is called Heart Eyes, and it's a new film, brand new film. It's not actually released until Valentine's Day, which is the day after we're
Tomorrow.
recording this.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a slasher movie set on Valentine's Day. Uh,
Okay.
and the thing about it is that it has every. I'm not a big fan, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of American comedy. I'm certainly not a huge fan of comedy horror. But I really enjoyed this because it had all of the cliches and tropes that you get from a rom-com.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, slasher movie. And it happens 4 or 5 times throughout the film where you're going rom com, slasher. And it works really well because the balance is there. It works as a good film because it's a balanced mix of rom-com and slasher. Um,
Okay.
and the thing I liked about it was the fact that you weren't absolutely sure exactly what was going to happen to who and when. And that was
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
And there was a twist at the end, yeah, a couple of twists at the end, which I wasn't quite expecting, which worked quite well as well. And I just really quite enjoyed it. It was a good fun film to watch. I wouldn't say, it was something that I would have gone out of my way to watch if I hadn't been a mystery film that I was just kind of like, oh, let's go along and see what it is.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good fun film to watch, and I would recommend it to anyone. Just it's and quite a few. I know quite a few people who go on Valentine's Day. They make a thing of going and watching a horror movie. Go and watch Heart Eyes. It's a good fun movie, and it's got some good bits to
Does
it.
see me. I've just looked it up to have a look at the overview of it, and it does look amazing.
And there are some incredibly good horror effects in it. I mean, as I say, you've got the typical rom-com sort of stuff and that sort of thing, but some of the horror effects are absolutely brilliantly done. And they do this great thing, which is that they have the rom-com stuff going on, and it's lovely, bright and sunny, and everything like that. And then as we move more towards the bit where the slasher thing starts, it starts clouding over a bit, and then all of a sudden the sky's gone all dark, and there's blood and guts everywhere. It's really well done. It's whoever made that film has made it really well.
Yeah. It's
So, but there you go. So there's the two short films, both called Charlie Charlie, which we were okay. They were okay short films, but nothing fantastic or major to sort of like write home about. The Exorcist, the beginning, which despite having some good actors in it and all that kind of thing, and some quite good individual short pieces that looked good and would worked well, effects wise, was really quite not that great a film at all.
no.
It wasn't. And lastly, Heart Eyes, which I would say I would recommend. I thought it was a really good, fun film. If you've got, what is it? not even 2 hours, I don't think. About an hour and
Uh,
45 minutes or something.
right.
Um, worth a watch. Okay, so there you go. Thank you for your input as always.
Okay, I'm glad that I could do this and have a chance to.
The next episode we will be doing will be again science fiction. And then following that, the one after that will be a report back from the Romford Horror Film Festival,
Yes.
which normally takes us about a month to get through. We record it all in one night. Um, so we will see what comes out of that and what goes on from there. I think that's about it. Is that
Yep,
it?
that's
I don't
about
think
all
there's
I
anything
can
more to
think
say.
of.
No, there you go. Okay, right. Thank you, Scott.
That's all right.
Thank you to everybody out there for participating in our madness. And we shall endeavour to return with something else at some point, some other day.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
The Sciforror Film Podcast.